It's Monday, good friends. We're here on PinkPixels as no surprise because you're already here because you knew that there's going to be great stuff. So I appreciate it. Hello, hello. We're back after a little hiatus. Last Monday, we had to take a small break because I was under the weather. And you know what? It's a good reminder that I love that the Gamers is here and says, yes, take care of your health, whether it's mental, whether it's physical. It's all important to make sure that there are certain priorities and that you don't put yourself on the back burner. So let that be a reminder for all of you. I know many of you are also workaholics and there's always, I got to do this one more thing. If I can push through it, as if we can tell our sickness like, hey, you just wait. Like, can I schedule you in at another time? As it turns out, my Google Calendar doesn't allow me to connect with the flu. So we had to just take our break. And it's a good reminder to drink your water, take care of yourself, and breathe. There are a lot of amazing, cool opportunities that are at our doorstep, but that doesn't mean that we have to open our door immediately the second that doorbell rings. It is your house. You decide who you invite in on the time frame that works for you. So here we are. We're back in. I'm ready. The door is open. So we are having an amazing guest come and join us in our wonderful house that is the Gamers today. I cannot wait. This has been a long time coming, and so like goosebumps and sweating already on my end because I'm so excited to invite Queen onto this conversation, our podcast, our show that we've been going on. And I want you all to get the chance to meet Queen Kerosene as well. So let's turn it over and go full cam. Everyone come say hello to our amazing guest this evening. Queen, come say hello.
Hello. Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing? I'm so excited. I don't even know what words to start with, but hello. I'm so happy to be here. It has been a long time coming. I'm like, finally, I made it work.
We're so glad. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I mean, I know I've been watching you. I've been following your social medias, but tell our audience who might be seeing your face for the first time.
Right. So I'm Queen Kerosene. That's my cosplay name that I go by. My name is also Cassidy. I do a lot of different kinds of cosplays on all my favorite fandoms, so I'm a little biased, but I generally enjoy cosplays from cartoons. I'm a 90s kid, so I do a lot of 90s based cartoons. There's anime, comic movies. I have a pretty wide range, but cosplay is a hobby I hold near and dear to my heart. Then outside of cosplay, I just generally love crafting, making my own stuff, whether it's like more than making a sword or like making an anime themed wall. I'm just all around. That's my life, honestly. I enjoy that stuff. So
I love it. Also, just the child in me that when you go like 90s themes cartoons, I was like, yes, yes. Ah, right. Like there's an era for many of us that we look at and go, these are just nostalgia pieces of characters who were so influential to not just only like stories that we love, but the way that we saw the world, what inspired us. And for many of us, when we look at work like you're like, to see the creative side bloom. Now, I gotta ask, because you clearly are a creative soul. You are rocking the fantasy look for us today. Can you walk us through what we are wearing?
So I went with I guess you can say more of a dark fairy type look for the evening. Going against the whole pink purple aesthetic of my room a little bit, but it's a dark fairy type. And these are wings I've been waiting to wear at a con. So I'm like, let me wear them here. They actually move. So it's a look that's coming together. No specific character, but I'm like, I have wings and they move, so I wanted to share them.
Okay, hold on. I gotta go full cam so everyone can see the full wingspan. Show off those so cool wings.
Like this. Now I have the controls in the back right now, so I'm like, I have to work on moving them towards the front, but that's how they are.
Oh, okay. That's so cool. I love that you can kind of do one at a time too. Like, I feel like you can eventually do a choreographed dance with it.
I probably have to plan it, yes.
Listen, we will all be watching and waiting for that to happen. Honestly, I love it. I think this kind of brings in the nice dark fantasy with the pink and the wings that it connects with your room. Like, you are still matchy here. Hold on. Now, did you make these wings? Like, you talked about like even moving the mechanics up to the front too?
So it wasn't me. So
Okay.
I won't take that credit.
Okay.
I did get them from a website.
Yes.
I'm gonna modify them a little bit for like I guess,
Hmm.
flexibility. Because
Yes.
like at the con, I don't want it to be like on video if you see me moving my arms. So I'm gonna make it so it's like it's at the front and it's a little more subtle. But that's in the works.
I love that. That's
So
a smart degree of like resourcefulness because especially you are a one person show. You have to put all these together. It's not like you've got a little team in your closet that you get to whip out and be like,
I
okay, let's
wish.
make this. Where's our own team of like little cobbler elves, right?
Yeah, right. That would be life changing.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So
Thanks.
I think this is so smart. And I appreciate you admitting, like, here are things that we're buying, here are things that I'm making, here's how I'm editing it. Because when we look at certain photos, we go, oh my gosh, I could never do all of that on my own. And so, like, this quick little reveal at the beginning just makes it seem like a little bit more accessible and also just practical, right? Like, this is amazing, but you do quite a bit on your own as well. Like, you make props, you do plenty of makeup and painting. And I gotta ask, when it comes to cosplay, what is some of your
Mhm.
favorite material to work with?
That has changed over time.
Okay, where are
Because
we
like
at now?
it used to be body paint. I used to do a bunch of body paint looks, and that was my main, like any cosplay that was body paint related and messing with like the looks and bringing it to life. Um, I'm not sure what's my favorite now. Like I'm definitely more on just the details of bringing like certain aspects to life. So I guess like with the wings, it's like okay, how do we make this look more realistic?
Hmm.
Like get it to move on its own. Like I'm working on a Doc Ock, and I'm like the backpack piece, like the arms need to like
Yes.
stand on their own just without me doing anything. I don't want it to be flimsy. Like I guess that's where I'm at. I don't know how to describe that under a term of
I
it's just the
actually
details.
I think there's something like the recreative artist, like you like to take pieces and you're like, how do I make this better? How do I elevate this? It makes me think like when people buy like, oh, they buy cosplay wigs, but like, no, you can't just take the cosplay wig and be like, yep, that's done. All of them need like additional styling or haircuts or
Yes.
treatment. Yeah, like as
Yes.
you showcase, like I wouldn't even know where
Yeah.
to begin. Like, do you see my like? I was happy I brushed it today with my own hair
Oh,
that I grew out of my head. So and here you are going the extra mile. I love it. But I think
thank you.
when you are a recreative artist like that, it takes such
Mhm.
a smart approach and understanding so many more diverse types of materials because you don't always get the full list like, okay, yeah, this is made of this. So therefore I know if I use a heat gun, it's gonna melt. Right? Like
Yeah. Oh, that's a learning. That is a journey of what you learn of not to do. I'm like, huh, why hasn't no one just ever done this? And then you realize because the gun legit burned through. Like, oh, that's why you don't do that.
and now this is an
And don't
apocalyptic
do it.
version.
Yes, yes. Or doing it while it's on your body. Because maybe you stop thinking for a second and you con crunched. I've done that and burned myself. Don't do that. So it's learning, you learn a lot over the years, learning when to handle the needles and when not to handle the needles and
Mhm.
the different fumes. There's a lot of safety stuff that it comes with it depending on how you go. I must say that like when anyone tries anything, like do your research first, watch a YouTube video, because the next thing you know, like you're using epoxy in your closed room and you pass out. Like you don't want that to happen. That hasn't happened to me, but you don't want that to happen to anyone else. So
I'm
yeah.
glad you've been okay. But this is, I think, something that we often forget when we see of crafting. Like, we look at the artistic side and we're like, yes, go crazy. Bring out the paintbrushes, bring out the glue, bring out the heat guns, right? You're working with all the plastic and glue and everything that smells, especially when you burn it.
Trump.
Honestly, thinking of the safety is not always top of mind. And it's probably even harder when you get into a rhythm of things. Like you're like, I finally figured this out. I'm not going to move my stuff out to another room or to the garage or to outside, or a place with good ventilation. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. What are some safety tools that you're like, this is always in my cosplay like prep. Like when I'm crafting, I need to always make sure I've got a few of these things because I think most of the time when we think of cosplay, we're like, I'm just gonna go buy the crafting materials. We don't think I need to buy the safety materials to make sure I can finish this with all my brain cells that I started with.
Right. Huh. I guess what my favorite is, and I guess it's simple enough, it's just gloves. Like, don't underestimating using gloves, especially if you do con crunching, because then next thing you know, like the night before you're painting or getting permanent marker on your done nails, and then it's like that shows up in the picture tomorrow. Like it's those little things where it's like, or you get the hot glue on your nails, and now you have this chunk of hot glue there. So gloves are just simple and safe.
That was
It
not
could give
even
you a
in my
layer
brain.
between. Yeah, like just do that. It's that one layer between a heat gun and a first degree burn. Like it's yeah,
I love that.
just like that.
See, you said like, "Oh, this is really obvious," and my brain was like, I did not even think of it." But that's because you have experience in this, and I think you're so right. Like when you're pointing it out to your nails, the best way to learn is oftentimes by making the mistakes yourself. Or in this case, I'm going to talk to you and learn from your mistakes. So I'm going to buy gloves now.
Yes.
Are there other things that you're like, listen, just make sure you take it careful with something like this, even safety precautions. Like I remember when I got my first heat gun and I was like, I feel powerful. I'm going to burn things. I'm going to move things to fold into the way that I want them to be, right? It's powerful.
It's very I had the same mindset when I got it, and then I overdid something and I burned through, like I think it was like there was a piece of book or plastic behind what it was, and it like dented into that, and like that was not supposed to happen. Like, yeah. It gets a little powerful though. Like it's legit one of those things where I'm like, I have this in my hand and look what I'm about to do anything I want with it. And that's how it might go to your head. Like I'm trying to remember exactly what I burned. It'll come to me later on.
That's fair.
But
is the list
I'm
just
out
too
of my
long
crazy.
now at this point?
Honestly, I've had a lot of mishaps. I've had to start whole projects over, little arm pieces. I've been working on like Bowsette forever, and I did use the heat gun too long on one part where it's like, let me start over on the choker in general now. Like it could be little things, but then it's like a mix of the perfectionist in me where it's like, I could have probably still used it. Like, was it really that bad? But obviously, if you burn through it, then yes, it's apocalyptic at that point. Don't use it. But um, it all depends. I think the perfectionist side of me sometimes gets in the way of like, let's start over, let's do this. I become very careful now because it's also not cheap to get everything. So I'm like, let's not start over, but fight that voice in me that's like, but we could do better. So
You are
that's
not the first cosplayer to come on here and be a perfectionist. Is this a theme that we find, like, especially you're a top tier cosplayer, like not only like from my own amateur eyes, I can look at your work and
appreciate
go,
that.
oh my god, I would hire her. I would buy a calendar with all
Oh
of
my
her looks
goodness.
in there. But like obviously others have seen it. Like you've worked with huge brands like Box Lunch and Nickelodeon, right? Like what how does that perfectionist mindset help and hinder you to get to the level that you are at?
First, I appreciate all that because I legit told someone during the weekend, they asked me if I was a professional and I said no. So I'm glad to say that you
Yes,
said
you are. You are
I
dope.
was like, no.
You are. Artists do that to themselves where they don't do that. You are a professional. Or it's
I appreciate that.
you have notable amazing work that no, okay, you're a okay, we're going to put that down because that's not even up for debate. You're a
Okay.
professional, you are a master at your craft and what you've done. For this perfectionism, because I feel like maybe that's part of it, like your perfectionism isn't allowing you to own that in the confidence that I believe you should. So first of all,
It
shame
could
on
be
you.
that.
Let me be your new internal voice for you. You're amazing, but how does that
Thank you.
perfectionism impact how you are as a cosplayer?
I feel like it could take away the fun, and it has taken away the fun. I have changed cosplays like last minute after being so excited. I'm like, I packed it in my bag. This is what I'm wearing, and then I'm like, I put it on, and I'm like, this fell off. I can't wear it again. Like after all that work, it fell off. I've done that, and it's like it takes away like the enjoyment. And I've had my friends be like, you're being stupid. Put on your costume and let's come on. Like
Yeah.
it's still fine. You did everything else. Like I've had them have to be that voice. Like it's fine. There's cosplay medics for a reason. And then you remember, yeah, things fall apart. Like even on things that are store bought or like things do fall apart, and because you're wearing them for 12 hours. So I've had to get in that mindset of learning from it and just accepting I made the rest. The rest does look good. I made it. And it might not be top tier, like for what my own perfectionist standards would say top tier to enter like a contest, but it definitely like it's my own confidence growing when I know like I made that shirt or I made that dress. Like I actually sewed it from like scratch. So I that truly still gives me like makes me feel so good to know that I have made it. But then I will take my own fun away if it's not perfect. So
It's a double-edged
yeah,
sword. Yes, that
yeah.
perfectionism, like there's some part of it's nice and then there's other parts that yeah, you got to drown out. I'm glad that you have friends who are like, "Listen, it still looks great. You should wear it anyway," because we're not always kind to ourselves. But clearly, all right, you've got the talent and the skill to back it up. Queen Ryan here in chat is even like, "Yeah, I second that. She's definitely a professional." So, I just want you to know others see it
Thank
as well.
you. Thank you, Queen Ryan.
Now, I gotta say, like, when you drew some of these cosplays, they are intense and detailed. And you're taking on very complicated challenges, especially when I think of like some of the older references when they're designing characters, especially for animation, for design. They're not designing outfits and characters that are easy to necessarily bring to life. They're not thinking of like, well, what is going to be the science of like actually creating wings that are going to be that big for the proportion of the actual character or carrying a sword that is massive. Yes, I'm looking at you, Cloud, in Final Fantasy, right? Like the
All of that.
proportions, yeah, all of that. Or like when you look at it, like there's even been some characters where I'm looking like, how does that belt work? Right? Like so you have to do a lot of almost architectural design on your own when it comes to the piecing together of characters. How do you begin to start outlining what is oftentimes a 2D design and making it something that you can walk around at a convention? Because you're right, like, of course, these are hard to make to stand up for 12 hours because for some of them, they weren't even meant to be real to begin with.
Right. There's that. So with that, first it takes passion because there are some things where I'm like, and I give so much kudos and appreciation to there's so many cosplay friends I just look up to who I'm like they take on some things that I'm like I'm not motivated enough to take on that. The motivation is the first key to for me to actually put it on paper and be like, where do I start? Um, I guess like let me think of like Duchess from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yes.
When I did Duchess, I was like, that was my favorite show as a kid. That was my favorite show. So there was the passion right there. I'm like, who can I cosplay from this show? Who doesn't get enough appreciation? Not that she needed to be appreciated, but you know, Duchess was she's a character.
She
So I'm
made
like,
others shine,
Duchess,
right?
yes, let's do Duchess. So I was just passionate about it. And I'm like, I went into Joann's and I got all this fur and I'm like, okay, we're gonna take it from here. She has a fur coat. It has these designs on it. We'll take it from there. Mind you, that's not even her harder part. So I started easier first because obviously she has all those like, she's flat. If you guys remember Duchess, she's like, she turns from the side and she's kind of flat and
Mm-hmm.
her nose extends like an elephant and
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. I didn't do every detail, but I replicated it in a way where it's like, it popped.
Yes.
And I was still proud of that. So starting from the more simpler details makes it less overwhelming after you're passionate enough to start. And then you got to finish it. So I guess
Also
someone
hard.
like Duchess, that's where it is. Yes. But
Fin-
then
Finishing one is
when
very
there's like
difficult.
Doc, yes. With the Doc Ock cosplay, I'm thinking I did have to draw that out, and I had to um, play with a lot of different materials, like different air conditioned ducks. I ordered like 3 different types off of Amazon to get a feel of them when they came to determine, oh, this one is actually too wide for what I thought in my mind. Like so for ones like that, it's touching materials first. Like, okay, this is actually light enough for me to stick an extra skeletal piece in to keep it standing. So that there's that thought process when it's something that more intricate where it's like, let me just feel everything first to understand what I'm even working with. So yeah.
You are a tactile learner. I love that. And I think there's just
Yes.
another form of inspiration that comes in when you go from your senses of sight to touch, like being able to feel it, see how it
Yeah.
moves. That allows you to think, okay, here's how it's actually going to function in the space. Here's where it's going to be able to hold itself up, hopefully for a couple of hours, or am I going to need more hot glue
Yeah.
in that balance? I, I love this advice though because it's so smart in the approach of saying start with the easy things, and you when you do, you kind of also pick up those most big clear items. Because when I looked at it, I was like, I knew immediately that was Duchess. I saw the color scheme, I saw the
Yeah.
silhouette. I'm like, obviously that's Duchess. I didn't even need to click in to read any description from it, and it reminds me of
Yeah.
like how many characters are like that. Like when I think of Velma, Velma is like from Scooby Doo. Like you just need, I mean, somewhat brown hair. You could do any style and people would recognize. And you have an orange top and then like a reddish brown skirt with high knee socks. Like people would get it. If you wore, pants instead of a skirt, as long as it's the right color combo, people would understand like you were
Yes.
some version of Velma right there. Like the
Yes.
details give you a lot more control as you choose to bring her to life. I feel like I was about to cut you off there. Go for it.
No, you're good. I didn't want to cut you off because I was just like, that's exactly what I've told other people who are like, where
Yeah.
do I start? And I'm like, start with the color scheme.
Hmm.
Like, I feel like I get an ad for that game. It's one of those games where it's basically like just color blocks of, and you know what it is, where it
Yes.
shows you like it could be the Scooby Doo gang,
Yes.
but it's just blocks, and
You know
as
it.
long as you got the color block and the scheme, like that's it. That's where
Yes.
you start. Like we're gonna know, like how many people do you know are yellow?
Hmm.
Duchess is one of the few
Yes.
yellow characters. Okay, so then you just start with the color scheme, and from there, I tell people you can't go wrong. Like because I know some people get a little nervous of like it's not gonna look perfect, and what if people don't know who I am? And I'm like, they're not all gonna know.
Hmm.
Honestly, like I was the island of Tafiti from Moana,
Yes.
and I had 2 guys think I was Mother Nature. They're not all gonna know where you're from.
Okay, they
Some
just
people
haven't
just
seen
didn't see,
Moana. That's on them. Okay, like
and there's that. Because I'm like, okay, I know I didn't do a bad job. Like, it took me 4 hours to be green. It's okay. If someone thought I was Mother Nature, that's fine. It's okay.
at least it's not far off. Like
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. I wasn't even mad. I just remember telling people, like, someone missed a movie or a show. We didn't all grow up in the 90s. My little sister doesn't know Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
mhm.
It hurt, but there's a 12-year difference. I can't hold it against her.
Yeah.
Like, not everyone's gonna know. So,
Is there a unique kind of joy that comes around though when you're doing a cosplay that might be slightly more obscure and you find people that go, "Oh my gosh, and then they fill in the blank and you're like, "Yes, you understand what I'm doing." Is that something special versus playing and cosplaying someone who's like wildly known like Poison Ivy or even from like Jujutsu Kaisen or not or Demon Slayer, right? That feels a little bit more public.
I think because I've had people call me that one too. Like, I was choosing characters before that weren't as like it wasn't exactly trending, and I'm like, if someone catches on, it's like we're in the same mindset. I just so love this character so much. Like, it is a special, like, oh yes, you know what I'm doing. Like, that's exactly who I am. I just wanted to be this person. Like, yeah,
I
it is a different vibe.
I love that when you describe it, I hear the words you're saying, but I feel like I understand it more by watching your facial expressions.
I might have a lot of facial expressions. I've been told that too. I'm a little expressive. Sorry.
No, and you should be. Don't apologize for it because it's such a great way to express yourself and it's easy to relate. Sometimes words are weird like that, but when I see you go like when you see that and you make that connection and they get it, like the
Yeah.
way you tilted your head and like you brought your shoulders in and the smile, it's like there there's a warmth to it. There's a reward and it kind of bubbles inside of you that glows. At least that's what I was getting from you, and that's how I interpret it. Like goes, I
Yay.
want to mimic
Okay.
that. Like, but I think you're spot on. Like when we create these moments, there's something that is unique, and it reminds me again of how cosplay is an art, and how you have the opportunity as an artist to provoke an emotional reaction from your viewers in such a way, and even from yourself. Maybe it's the reaction itself that's also part of the art.
I want to say, because before I did it more in a content basis, because it's like, yeah, I do content creating now. I was like, it was really like it was for me feeling good. It was just like, oh, yeah, it was just me having fun.
Yeah.
And I still have fun, but there's a different level to it because now I have fun, but I make sure I make 15 TikToks off that one costume compared to before I was like, hey, I made it. I'm dressed up. Let's go to the con.
Hmm.
I might have forgotten to even take a picture, but it definitely
That feels like a
started as
sin
like,
right now to say that out loud.
yeah, I'm gonna admit that though, because but I my first cosplay was in high school and it wasn't the best. I was Bumblebee from DC. It was rough. Actually, been meaning to try her again because I'm like, you know what? I have a lot of experience now, but I didn't take a lot of pictures. Like I have probably one picture of that because I just wanted to go to the con with my friends, and it made sense. I'm like, we have to dress up, right? Which I have a rule on that. If you do go to a con, obviously it's okay if you wear like a graphic tee or pants or whatever. But I feel like it's a place where you should be dressed up, even if it's elf ears or like it doesn't have to be a costume. But I'm like, it's the perfect place to just change it up a little, have some fun. So
I love that mentality. Admittedly, I'm somebody who
yeah.
does not like to draw any attention to themselves. So, like, the first few times I went to cons, I did the Marvel undercover where I'm wearing like a hat and a jacket, just like Captain
Okay.
America, like, but when I hear you say that, I go, of course, these are spaces that we've developed that are meant to be not just safe, but welcoming and
Yeah.
celebratory over over our enjoyment and creative expression. And if we can't have that opportunity to express ourselves in a fun way, like even as simple as wearing elf ears, putting on some fun glitter makeup, I don't know, even paint for
Yeah.
some. I remember the first time when I painted my nails a different color. Like, it's small ways, but it's a chance for us to feel like who we are is real. Because so much of it is like in these video games, we play it and we wish we could be like them, or we'll create art and we'll buy it, or we'll read the comics and we're like, we wish we could be in these stories. Cons are our chance to step into that world a little bit more. I love that
Yeah.
take. Mm.
No, I and you've elaborated it even better. It's like, yeah, it's a space to do that. It's a space to just have fun, be yourself. These are the people who are going to understand the D&D terms. These are the people who watched and played all of Final Fantasy. Like this is where you do it. So I am very big on that. And for my friends or anyone, family, the first time they're going to the con, I won't put pressure because I'm like, you know what? Just take it all in. Take it all in and you discover for yourself. This is where we're gonna have fun. We're gonna have fun. So
Now, what convention did you go to first? Was it a local one, or did you go like, let's go big or go home?
local. So I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. So I had SuperCon in Miami. I actually just went to SuperCon yesterday, this weekend. So
Yeah.
after years, I guess, how long has it been since I've been going to SuperCon? I haven't gone every year, but I guess it's been like 10 years ago was my first one. I was just there again this weekend. So
Mhm.
that's our local one, one of our local ones. Bro, that. What was the question again? Sorry, I went through another train of
No,
thought.
you were right on because I asked if you started off with a local or a big con. And so starting
Oh,
off local.
yes.
Yes.
I started off local, and I just happened to go to that same local one this past weekend. I started local because I really didn't know what to expect.
Hmm.
So it took me years to go like bigger, like MegaCon. Took me years to get up to Orlando for MegaCon, and MegaCon is a different beast. MegaCon is like
That's a lot.
you don't. I don't suggest that for beginners to go to MegaCon.
Yeah.
And it also took years to go out of state. So local is always this a good place to start. That's where I started.
I think that's fair, right? Like, take advantage of what you have near, and it also feels safer. Like, at the end of the day, you get to go home to your bed or your safe spot to
Yes.
decompress because cons are a lot of people. There's a lot.
Yes. It can be overwhelming. And especially like doing 3 days, I am someone whose social battery will get shot. So I realized on the third day, it's a different energy.
Mhm.
So I either had to leave early during that second day to
Mhm.
go nap and then come back for the rave. Like I can't do the whole weekend
Yeah.
going. And it's different if you go home to your bed, like you said, or you're in the hotel room. Cause then, you feel maybe more obligated to be like, I'm not supposed to stay in the hotel room. Let me go con. But then it's like, it is a lot.
It is. It is.
It's a lot.
I mean, even for people who just attend, right? There's so much stimulus from the panels to waiting in lines to seeing the so many different merch and items that are available. It is hard to take it in.
Yes.
Of course, you want to look at everything because if you miss a booth, it's going to be the one booth of the one thing that you were really
Where
looking
you have the
for.
thing.
Yes,
Yes.
you can't. You can't miss a single moment of it. But you
Uh-huh.
have the added challenge of being a cosplayer. You probably get a lot more attention and people not only just looking at you, but coming up and talking to you, asking to take pictures. So that's got to drain the social battery even more, doesn't it?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because so funny enough, that happened to me Saturday. Saturday, I went to SuperCon as Princess Tiana, and I didn't think much of it. I'm like, I've always wanted to be Princess Tiana. I have my cosplay. Like, I honestly didn't think it would get the attention it got.
Hmm.
But my social battery remained high all day because I had these little girls come up and gave me a hug. They called me princess, and then there was like a Princess Belle. She was like 5, and we were like princess. Like I was hyped the whole day. Like my battery did not drain, and I
That's fair.
like not that I necessarily liked the attention. It was the interactions. They were so sweet. Like I think someone had it on video of me hugging a little girl, and I was just so happy.
Oh.
It made me feel like lifelong dream to be like a Disney cast member. I was like, oh, this is what this feels like. Um,
Where
then
little
yesterday
kids want to
though,
go up and be like princess, and you get to
yeah, I
confirm
was
when
like,
they're
oh,
princesses. Yes.
it was great. My energy was high the whole day. Like the engagement there for me was great. But then Sunday, I was just kind of tired. Sunday was just like I realized, I didn't interact as much. Um, it was a 3-day con. It was like it was just a different energy. So low key, I switched out of cosplay, so I didn't get as much attention because I was like,
Smart.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I want to go shopping, and I just wanted to be calm. So I realized at the cons, it all depends on how I'm feeling or what I guess the reaction comes back to. Because like I said, I can't say I love attention, and people might think that sounds crazy. You dress up, you wear wings, of course you love attention. But I'm like, no, I swear, like I usually remain quiet amongst my family or at work. I'm usually like in my corner, and I can handle a certain amount as long as there's like positivity with it. I can't complain. So
Well, you made that distinction earlier, right? That it wasn't so much that they were looking at you, but it was that interaction of like when they light up when they see you, right? When
yeah,
they recognize the character that you are and they go princess, right? Or what, whoever you might be cosplaying. Like that's the value. It's not just you. You're not flaunting around be like everyone come look at me, come take pictures of me.
yes,
You are creating meaningful moments, and that's the part that's rewarding when people get to see them brought to life. I know as somebody who admires cosplayers, like when I see them and I go, right, there's something. It's a gift that you all have given me And I hope it's the reward is that you see that I am appreciative of what you've given us to see our favorite characters brought to life, that we can see them move and feel real. And suddenly, those stories that have impacted us so strongly from pages to the screen to wherever it is feels so much realer. It validates that which we've learned from it. So I love that, and I hope that's what I hear when I think of cosplayers like you, that you're like, it's not for attention, it's for creating something meaningful. Personally, that's the meaning that you provide me, and I love it. So thank you. Maybe
Well,
that's way
thank
off.
you for
Like,
saying that.
she's just a
No,
weirdo.
thank you for that. Because I mean, I guess coming from the other end, like when I look at bigger cosplayers or ones who perfect the art of foaming and creating, like I don't know, I have to go tell them, you that's amazing. I want to do that. You're amazing. Like there's from the other end of it, supporting other cosplayers or just even seeing that. And I mean, there's also some days, like I'm not gonna lie, if I made a really good prop,
Hmm.
like I made my Princess Bowsette crown,
Hmm.
I showed that off to my whole family.
Yeah.
I made this crown.
Yeah.
Like, and I would like the attention of someone appreciating that I made this. So
Hmm.
I won't get that twisted. But I realize the appreciation piece, when I like go to the cons and see other cosplayer friends, we flex on each other because we're hyping each other up. And it's usually like that's a good vibe about it. Like, yes, it took me, like I've sent progress pics. You saw me from the beginning start this. This is where we're at.
Hmm.
Oh my gosh, I finally get to see your end product. And like we're wearing it because, you know, after doing all that work, yeah, we do want to show it off. So
Hmm.
there's that attention piece where I have to say, like, I want to show you all the what was worth all the glue gun burns. But like there's the other appreciation engagement piece.
Yes, yes, I love that. And I think it helps to have a community where there is appreciation. Don't get me wrong, like I'm sure you're never going to complain about having, little girls come up and yell, scream and cry about being you being their princess, or even individuals like myself saying like you are the character that I've grown up reading about and loving. But I think to call out and say like there's something from other artists as well, people in the cosplay space, and I don't think it's even limited to like whatever skill level, like from any skill level, everyone going through that process of like I'm trying to build something, I'm showcasing how I'm doing it, and then I'm bringing it here to this convention with others. I think there's a different level of understanding that you as a community hold together. Is that right to say like we're
I
all
would say
okay?
there definitely is. Yeah, because the cosplay friends that I've met who like maybe they had to drive 4 or 5 hours because that cosplay couldn't fit in an airplane luggage, or like generally through the door, or like things like that. Like I have a there's a different appreciation level and understanding, I feel like, and I haven't even done some of those things. Like um it's just losing my train of thought where I was going with that, but there is a different um, appreciation. I have to
Yeah.
say it. Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of a specific scenario without outing everyone's name out there, but like when I have those friends that are going to their cosplay contests, and like even if they don't place, I'm like everyone there did such amazing work.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm. You
the
have
it's
empathy.
so hard to pick who truly, which is why I've kind of stayed away from contests now because I'm like, it's so much pressure. I'm like, everyone there deserves acknowledgement for blood, sweat, and tears of any, like, whether they sewed, whether they did the foam. Like, it's just, there is a different understanding and appreciation I have because I'm like, you not only made it, brought it to life, then you brought it here, no matter how you got it there. And then you walked on a stage with it and did a musical number, like the people who do like performances in the costume on top of that. I I'm a fangirl for cosplayers.
Yeah. I
There are
love it.
some yes.
You have an empathy, you have a perspective of understanding. Like when you look at it, it's not just this looks great, but you can see like, oh, there's unique skill there, or that was a really clever use of material there. Like you have an eye to be able to understand the skill needed to be able to execute it. And even beyond just skill, just the heart and willingness and determination to keep putting those hours in, to deal with the hot glue burns, to pull out another stitch because you sewed it on the wrong side, right? Like you
Yes.
can see that and go like, I see the frustration and the late night hours behind that outfit.
I know you crunched that last part. You probably didn't need to, but you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I
I
have
think
to
it's
ask.
funny we.
Yeah, go for it.
Sorry. No, I was going to say it's funny that we usually admit it to each other. It's usually like, I just finished this morning. Oh, like, yeah, the wig just came in last night. Or, yeah, it's just, we do tell each other those things, I realize.
Oh,
Like, I probably won't always admit that on Instagram. Like, yeah, this just happened. So,
yes. Instagram doesn't need to know. It's like those secret whispers, like this seam is just hot glued in instead of sewn, right? Like,
which I've done. But I'm like, you guys won't know which cosplay, but I've done it. So, yes.
it's easier sometimes, right? Like instead of going through and sucking that whole thing up, a hot glue gun is also easier to travel with than a sewing machine. So,
Yes, exactly.
no, now I gotta ask, Con Crunch. I know it happens. Like I don't know any cosplayer who has not experienced Con Crunch. How good are you at planning though your own timeline to get a cosplay done in time? Like, is it like I way overestimated how much time this worked, or you're like, over the years I've been getting better?
Over the years, I've been getting better. Is it a lot of progress and better? No. I I have a lot of unfinished projects and
Okay.
a lot of like, especially just like the past year of my life, like moving. Like I'm in the middle of a move right now. Actually, half of this cosplay room is taken down at the moment. But like stuff like that, when life happens to me, I get thrown off, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll work on it next week. But next week happens, and now something's going on at work, so I have to wait again. And I definitely have an issue holding myself accountable to finish cosplays on time. Um, so at this point, I have to remember, let me do this one slowly and for leisure. And I know at some point this year, I'm going to wear it because that's kind of where I'm at with Bowsette. I've been working on her for 6 months, and it's not that intricate, but the turtle shell, the turtle shell is going to take me a day to give it all my attention.
Yeah.
I cut all the pieces. It's been sitting, it's like sitting right over there, actually. I could grab you the pieces right now. Um, I it's going to be worn this year. That is the timeline I've given myself
I believe you.
because, yeah, let me not, bad con crunching behaviors. And then that's when the whole perfectionist piece comes in. I'm like, this looks horrible because obviously I rushed it, this, and this. I'm trying to break those habits. So I'm like, 2024, I'll be Bowsette. You guys will see it eventually.
That's right.
So,
That's right. I think
yeah.
your cat just chimed in to back you up on that. Like, yes,
Yeah.
you have an accountability partner. I love that. I love that. Listen, let's keep talking because I want to know more about your process, especially as not just a cosplayer, but obviously you put it into the content creation wheel as well. So let's take a little bit of a 5 minute break. We'll come back and we'll pick up more on how you've continued this journey on. Sound pretty good, Queen?
Yes, that sounds good.
All right, friends, we'll see you all in just a few minutes. Surprise! Actually, no surprise, because I told you also, if you were listening, you knew we'd be back, and we are. So I'm CausticPhoenix, and I am here with Queen Kerosene, and we are diving back into our conversation with our amazing expert here on cosplay. But on top of this, you have also turned this into a content creation machine of sorts. Now, I remember when you said when you first started, you went to Fort Lauderdale, you went to your local con there, and it was for you. Now you have turned it into something that you also share, not just with those at the con, but online with audiences who are excited to see your progress, what you've been creating, everything that you do behind it. What is it like to go and say, all right, you know what? I think I'm going to make a social media account. I'm going to start posting this on Instagram. I'm going to start curating an audience and brand and develop. When did that light bulb switch over from this is fun versus this is fun and now I'm going to do something with it?
Trying to remember what was that for me.
You didn't mark it with like a workiversary day or something?
Yeah, like when did I turn this into more than my fun little hobby? Oh no, funny enough, there was a 28 days of black cosplay. First time I participated, and I did 28 days. And after doing 28 different cosplays in a short span, it triggered something in me. Like, let's keep going.
Wait,
Honestly,
that's
that's what
amazing
it
because I feel
was.
like most people are like, I need a break. And you're like, let's go more.
I was younger because since then, have I done 28 new cosplays? No, that first year, first last time I've done that. And I had a great time.
Sure.
Truly had a great time. I made so much connections in the cosplay community. And that's how I was like, oh, everyone's here posting it. That's how I got more into it. Cause it's like I was doing all these cosplays back to back, and then people were sharing me. And then I was like, people were sharing like their love for cosplay in general, and they did it. And I was like, there's a whole community. I want to be a part of it. That means I have to post more and do more. And so that's when it clicked. And that was quite some years ago, but not to the extent where the opportunities I've gotten from it, I never expected. Like to be on a space like the gamers and talking to you like this, I didn't expect it to go there. Or being on a panel at a con in general, and people like just, I never expected that. It was so definitely went a different way.
Fair. Fair. But that's kind of the exciting part of this journey, especially with anything online. This is still a rather newer career path. Like if you were to tell your parents, like when we were growing up, be like, I'm going to be an influencer. You'd be like, you're a what? What is that? You know,
Right.
that's not a
Yeah.
job title. Even the IRS still doesn't know how to categorize us. So, right, like
Right.
this is still technically new. There's not an easy way to file taxes on these sort of
No,
things. Uh,
still figuring that out.
yeah.
Funny that you say that. My taxes were fun to figure out.
Well, listen, if you're a tax accountant, if you do law, if you create content specific to like content creators and cosplayers and be like, here's how you file, you're going to have so many happy clients and followers. Um,
Yes.
there is a desperate
Yes.
need because it's a huge mystery. But you now, of course, have built something that is very much so, even though, of course, there are many content creators, but you're part of this movement that is carving a new career. There's no set path. There was no set journey of saying, okay, here's what you need to do next. Here's how you file your taxes. Here's where you need to
Yeah.
start talking about branding. Here's how you do social media the right way. What was it like to have to learn a lot of that on your own or even just within like your friend group and your community group?
Hard. And I'm not going to say I learned it on my own. Um, a lot of trial and error. At some point, going straight to my best friend works in social media, and she has a great understanding of it. Going to her, like, what the heck do I do? What does the algorithm do? How do you do this? It was just trial and error. And then you never know, like, if Instagram one day is going to be like, we're not showing you to your own following anymore. Like, it's just things like that where it's trial and error. And for so many content creators, like one video, the one random day where we thought nothing of it, it blew up, and it got you more support and more following to help you continue to grow. And we kind of all just like, I think for all creators, like you just need that one video to show people like what you can do. But to get there, like you never know. I cannot say I still don't know. Like I fall off a schedule. I try to stay on a schedule all the time. Try to post on TikTok twice a day. Then I might not post for a week, and I don't know what's gonna do well. And then I randomly do well, and I'm like, oh, okay. Um,
That
it's still a
sounds
learning process.
it it sounds messy, and
Yeah,
it sounds exhausting, honestly. Like I hear that and I go, "Oh, that doesn't sound fun at all."
I've pulled away from, and that's why I have to remember why I do it, because I'm like, it's not like it's a full time job for me. Or when the times that if I've gotten any compensation from or anything, I'm like, that's great. But like, because it's not a full time job, I do have a full time job. I'm like, this is exhausting to then go from my already 40-hour plus week to like trying to figure this out
Yeah.
to continue to treat it like a business. No, it is very exhausting.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Trying to, yeah.
you're spot on because we'll hear of like massive accounts, and I was just watching somebody I follow on TikTok just the other day, and she mentioned like this video took $3,000 to make. Right? She was upfront about it, and I was like, "What? I'm sorry." But that's how, like, for her and the level of production that she does and the editors that she pays to do her stuff and to have somebody to, manage the social media and write the posts and everything
Right.
for it. Like, that's how much it costs to get people to produce a video like that. And that's why she can do it and do it full time. But
And do
there's a
so
balance.
well.
Yes. But that's not easy. And that's not just for people to make it that big, it is not a one person success ever anymore. Like there's very to do sustained success, not just like a one-time viral video, sustained success. It is not one person busting their ass creating amazing content. It is a team that continues to make that happen. And yet here you are doing a fantastic job. I mean, because we
Thank
mentioned
you.
like it sounds hard, and I empathize, and I don't want to make it sound like you're failing because what you're doing is already a lot. Like most people go like, I work a full-time job, that's enough, right? Like for most of us, a
Yeah.
majority of the world, we're like, that's it. I can do one job. It is a full-time job. That's why it's called a full-time job, right? It's not full-time job and then you work for free a second job. But here you are, putting yourself through the ringer for something that you love so much. And it speaks to how much you enjoy the work that you do, the community that you create. Is there a platform that you love a little bit more than the others? Like, all right, we're not supposed to have favorite kids, but
Mm. So funny enough, I like how you put that. Um, I guess funny enough, and it's the least social of them all, Pinterest.
oh,
Pinterest is my favorite to put on because it gives me extra joy when someone saves my pin on Pinterest. Like I have taken pride in my Pinterest, and it's not something I share often, but I'm like, I put like there was stuff I made for my wedding on there. I put my wedding ideas. I love that people save them, or just the way I did certain cosplay hairstyles I put on there and people save them. I'm like, it's a different save on Pinterest than on Instagram.
yes,
People go back to their Pinterest.
yes.
People reference Pinterest. So that's where I'm at with them. Like, I'm really seen there, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. I'm so glad you mentioned Pinterest. It feels like it is the child that is forgotten, but it's one of my favorite resources. Like when you say like people save, like I go back to it all the time. Like when
Yeah.
I do from anything from like nails or tattoos or hair color or yeah,
Yes.
crafting techniques. I save them all there. So when I do want to, that's what I go back to. I don't go to Instagram and TikTok, right?
Yeah.
YouTube always gives me too long of videos, right? So I'm like,
Yes. No, that's exactly how it is. Especially with nails. Every nail design I've ever wanted is on a Pinterest board.
yes,
So,
yes.
yes.
It's so practical and it's such a smart choice because it is, and I think people do forget it because it's not such the norm of content creation where you dialogue back and forth, where
Mhm.
there's a comment section. Queen Ryan's calling out like as I'm on Pinterest right now, right? Like yes, there are so many users and we don't think about it because we don't share oftentimes our pens the same way that we do publicly, like on Instagram or on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh, what a smart takeaway. I feel like people are like, "Oh yeah, why am I not on Pinterest?" Like if you this is such a great and useful platform still. Oh,
No, it's that I don't know. It's low key, but like it's very. I guess I want to say it's more personal than other social media. It's
Yes.
really fitted to you and the things you save compared to like you go on social media and like maybe you're just you're seeing what your friends are doing or checking on an ex. Like you get distracted by that stuff and it's like, is that for you anymore? Is it for what is it for? So no, Pinterest is my favorite.
I love that. My cousin called me out recently. She's like, "Are you planning to go to Singapore?" I was like, "How did you know?" She's like, "I was watching your Pinterest."
Uh,
No, but you're right, especially with something as visual as cosplay, as visual as crafting. That makes such a perfect one for one of where you need to be. And I think people forget, like, because there's such standards when we're in this space, especially because cosplay often gets looped in with just gaming instead of like all of nerd culture. Like you could do movies and TV shows and comic books and everything beyond that,
yeah,
but gaming seems to only like, Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, right? But there are so many others with just as valid and important audiences to take in. I feel like that just shows your thoughtfulness in knowing how you want to provide help and engagement with people and be meaningful.
I well yeah, I guess when you put it that way, it's like I do take a different. I don't want to use the word pride, but it's a different feel because I like that someone say like, "Oh, that idea helped someone else." Because anytime for Halloween or any other cosplays, when it's time to do that look, I'm on my Pinterest and I'm using someone else who helped me to figure out how do I will do this specific eyeshadow. Like I need it broken down that way because it
Yeah.
with other social medias too. Sometimes there's that gotcha piece or like more of the you're entertaining. I didn't learn anything because I was focused on the transitions. I need the breakdown. I need the slow picture. I need Pinterest to do
Yes.
that. So that's the other thing with that.
Yes. Yes. You and I are on the same page why Pinterest is so helpful. But you
It's
do
so
play,
great.
of course, the game on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. Like it's not that you're not there. What is it like to have to take something that I feel like when we think of cosplay, we think like you're taking cool pictures, you're walking down to places, but now on platforms like that, it's like you have to turn this into video content. Ooh.
Yes.
How do you come up with ideas to bring this alive in fresh ideas? Because obviously you can't keep doing like the same song with just different poses of the looks. How do you tell a
Yeah.
different story with each look that you have to give? Or even with like as you mentioned, like when you do a look, you have to get 17 pieces of content out of it. Like that's
Yes.
I love that number because that's really smart. Like on a marketing end, it's like if I put in the effort to do this cosplay, I need at least 17 social posts out of it to make it worth it. Like how do you find what those 17 pieces are?
It's funny enough, I give myself that number all the time,
Mhm.
and I have so many things saved in my drafts. Like I never even posted all of them, but I have them ready
Just in
to
case.
finish editing. Will I ever post all of them? Maybe not. But um, over time, like especially if there's a cosplay I'm planning for a while, like for Princess Tiana, I've always wanted to be Princess Tiana. So I have, and I think a lot of people do this, where you put like a, how do you do the TikTok saves? Like you have a collection, and I'm like, okay, this would be a nice thing for do to do for Tiana. Like when I save, it's like use this for Tiana later. Do this for this.
Mhm.
And typically when I'm getting ready to like prepare for that cosplay, I look to see how much ideas I got in the collection. And I'm like, okay, there's 10 videos in here. That's 10 sounds or 10 transitions to work with. And that's how I start to save them up. But then there's also like, I'll give out like, oh, I guess all the secrets because they're not even secrets. It's kind of like when you put that much time and effort into the makeup, you really just want to get bigger use out of it. So
Mhm.
like at this point, no matter the cosplay, there's a video of me dancing in it. There's a video of me walking forward and backwards in it because I might need it for a transition.
Yeah.
Like I do a bunch of different things, whether or not I'm going to use it, just to be prepared. Because it's like once I take off that body paint, I don't know when I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to get everything out in that day. And I've learned that lesson hard. Like I've done Duchess 2 or 3 times because I found another idea. I unfortunately don't feel like doing Duchess again. And I think I got yellow body paint all over the costume anyway. At this point, I can't wear her. But doing it the first time,
Mhm.
the best you can. Like, you're not gonna know the trending sound 6 months from now, but if you already did a dance in that video, then you post it with the trending sound 6 months from now.
Oh my goodness. That takes such
So
a forethought to know, like, okay, at least here are potential transitions, like where you kind of jump and you land into it, or you turn around, or you do the hand. Like, I feel like
yes,
there's a new form. Like, when you watch TikTok, is different from how I watch TikTok. Like, I'm watching it as just as entertainment, and you're looking for it as like, okay, we need to do an audit. Here's all the different types of transitions people are doing.
yes.
Yeah.
I was saying it that way. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's what I'm doing. Like, it is not just me enjoying it. I'm like, oh, I could use that. Yeah, put that right there.
Yes. This is
Yes.
research, R&D going on right now.
Yeah.
Log
Just
that
put
under
that
your
one right there.
business hours. But it's true because you have to stay, especially on platforms like TikTok and Instagram, you have to stay appraised of what are the trending sounds, what are the trending movements. I mean, when TikTok first came out, was it 3 years ago now? I don't know. Uh, it is a completely different game.
Yeah.
It wasn't too long ago, just a few months ago, I went back and I scrolled to see what were some of the first liked videos. And most of them are not on TikTok anymore. Like, they've been just deleted. But like, the style has changed. The habits. It
Yes.
used to be such a heavy lip syncing only platform. Uh,
Ye-
and now it is some lip syncing, some sing along, some dancing, some a lot more comedy within it. It continues to evolve of what those expectations are. Does this hurt your ability to be able to enjoy content creation, or when you watch it, are you constantly in that audit mindset?
I feel like I'm now constantly in that mindset.
Hmm.
And then now that you pointed out that other stuff, I've appreciated that the format changed because I didn't post for the longest like reels or TikToks when they first became popular because I can't dance like that. So I'm so happy, or I couldn't do the lip sync right. So I'm so happy it's not just lip syncing and dancing because I was never going to get anyone's attention. All right. I had to find my own style with it.
Yeah.
So so you just pointed that out to me. I'm like, that's why it didn't work for me in the beginning. I can't
Yes.
do that. So
Not my cup of tea. Pass. We'll wait. We'll
no,
wait till it
yeah,
evolves and redefines, some more refined taste. It's fine.
yeah,
No, I think it's just interesting because, of course, with you dedicating so many time, so much hours towards thinking about how you share this with others and making it consumable in a format that other people like. Because again, like, you can't just post pictures on TikTok. They did try the slideshows for a while, but those don't seem consistently to perform as
as
well.
popular. Yeah,
Yes, yes. As on their own, and you certainly can't rely on it to be every single post. So it has to take up even more of your time, more of your time, because you're already doing 40-hour job minimum, right? And then you start also doing hours within creating the cosplay itself, and then there's hours onto showcasing and marketing it out. Do
yes.
you get time to breathe? Do you have time for things that are not going to be on the internet? I say this like that's not a bad thing if that's what you enjoy, but
Oh,
this is a check-in.
I I appreciate the check-in because I feel like, frankly, I don't have time for a lot of the stuff. Like cosplay on the fun side right now, I don't have as much time for. I do feel like, oh my gosh, like when is it? Like going to the con yesterday, and like I said, coming out of the cosplay and just wearing like I had Deadpool pants on and a shirt. That was like I had to pull out. Like let me like
Mhm.
just sit back and relax. Because once you do life and the job and then try to stay on the hobby that turned kind of into a job,
Mhm.
no, it does kind of pull. Like how do I maintain all this? How do
Yeah.
I? It is hard. And then just someone pointed it out. I forgot which cosplayer, if I remember her name, like how she used the sound and pointed out like, and that's what all the content creators like. I'm not just a cosplayer. Apparently, I'm a wig styler, and now I'm a video editor, and a voice actor, and a seamstress. And it's like you take on all these roles within the one, and yeah, it gets hard to find the time to do it. And I've kind of accepted especially because I don't have all the free time, I'm not going to do it the best like other creators. Like, I'm not going to say I'm going to become this big famous creator one day, because I do have my other passion in my life and my job. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work. And if I want to breathe and enjoy the rest of my life, I can't. I can't do it all. So,
I think that's such
yeah.
a healthy approach. I and I kind of like there's like this welcome of saying like I can't do it all, but you also don't have to. Like that's
Yeah.
a self-imposed goal to say like I have to be able to do it all. Nobody out there is saying that to us. It's our own brain that we have to almost fight against in that moment. And I love this fresh
Yeah.
air that you're giving us to be like give our more permission of like, I've got other things in my life and that's okay.
Yeah. Because otherwise, I'm there's a lot of stuff I took at the con this weekend. I'm like, I haven't edited it all. I need to post the people I took pictures with. I'm gonna get there, but I also have to move my house, and my cat needed me, and like, there's other stuff. So
Your cat needed
yeah, it's
you.
just
That
yeah,
is the realist. You know what? I was just talking to a friend today. She's like, I won't be able to go to the con because I need to stay and watch my dog. I'm like, I get it. I get it. Stay with your dog. It's okay. Like,
no, there's stuff like that. I legit had that happen, where I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming to the con. There's stuff going on, so you take a just sit back. And people, I always apologize when I'm like, guys, I'm sorry I've been along, because I'll fall off too when that happens, because then I start focusing on life so much. And I appreciate the support of like friends, family, followers. Like, why are you saying sorry? But I'm like, I have to say sorry because I feel like I totally disappeared and I haven't put a cosplay out in forever. And you guys liked my page because I do this. I do feel that pressure sometimes. Like, you guys are only here because that's how you started. Like, that's what got your attention. But thankfully, with that, no, there's people who just really like enjoy like the vibe of like, you don't have to continue doing it. Some people truly enjoy that you did it and have that connection with you to be like, oh, you're just someone I'm interested in like seeing. Like, someone had to explain that to me. Like, you could probably change your platform. And that's a whole nother thing. Like, I have no like interest to do that. This is my cosplay platform. This is my interest. But I realized someone felt the pressure to continue doing things because she thought that's how her following was. But I'm like, they're there for you. You're a sweet person. Like,
Mhm.
so they stayed. This you didn't have to continue.
Yeah.
So that was another tangent, but that's
Listen,
when I realized like
life is
the
filled with
mental health piece
tangents.
there.
Yeah, no, you
Yeah.
put that in because none of our lives have ever been organized. Like it's just life does not come and give us like, okay, now that you finished this completely, now I'm ready to give you this. It doesn't do that. It's like you've got
It
15
doesn't do
spinning
that.
plates. Let me give you 12 oranges to also balance. It doesn't make sense. It feels chaotic. And so these tangents are important because they come in just as chaotically as life throws us all of these options. And we have to make decisions of what's right for us. And that's hard to guess. We don't know what the right answer is, we don't know how it's going to turn out. And so I appreciate it. And that's such a smart mental health check because, especially in the content creation space, it mental health is such a tough thing because it is something that shows publicly. There's a
Yeah.
lot that we deal with, but it's a different thing of like, well, none of my life is online, so it's for me and me to deal with versus I put a lot on my stuff because one of the things that makes uh, connecting and valuable interactions is that there's a degree of vulnerability and obviously a high degree of authenticity that is there and who you are and what you're creating. So that mental stability shows in those posts and what you're working through, even if you don't talk about it directly. Right? There's still there's still that pressure that comes in from behind it. There's that subtext that is there, and to have to play that out on such an online stage is difficult.
And I just when you say that, like, I am one of those people who I'm not comfortable on that social aspect where I'll share everything going on. So it's like, yeah, like I almost want to separate my life from them. Like, I want them to see this cosplay side. I don't want to share you guys with like
Hmm. Yeah.
the craziness. I don't want to share that with them. But I know some people are like, they do share everything. And I realize I do connect with those content creators more like, oh, this is a human, you know? This
Hmm.
is, I'm just not as open. I am more like, I'm going to shut down in a way. But there's different people who approach it different. And I realize it helps us own our own way, whether you need to step back or if you are comfortable enough to share.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's just a smart choice for you to figure out, like, here's what's good for me and what I'm comfortable with. And you should never
Yeah.
have to apologize, be like, I've been gone for a while. Like, there's no apology needed. You don't owe the audiences, a set amount of time. There's no contract to be like, I promise, if you follow me, I will always put out at least 2 TikToks every day for you and 3 Instagram posts. Like, that's not out there anywhere.
Right.
They're getting content for free on these platforms. You do not have to expend your mental health, your emotional capacity, any more than you feel comfortable than doing.
That's the other best way to say it, because it's like, just like you said, I'm like, I technically hired myself to be a content creator. So
Mhm.
as my own boss, yeah, I didn't give a disclaimer that I would give you guys like 2 TikTok videos a day. I set that for myself, my own, you know, work requirements that I could change at any moment. And I feel like if we all remember that, like, hey, you don't have to post your YouTube video this week. You are in control and can do it next week. It's okay.
Yes. Yes. That is such a smart and healthy dialogue to have with yourself, and so important to have. And it's not a dialogue that you have to have with others. I feel like we often need to provide that. I know I have, and my community's always been
Yeah.
like, you don't have to apologize. If you need time off, take time off. Like, I'm scolded for apologizing because they're amazing and they understand. But there are people, right, including ourselves, when we tell ourselves internally, like, you need to. People are waiting on it. If you don't, then you're gonna fall off the algorithm. Or there's that one person, like every
Yes.
5,000 people, that goes, you haven't posted in a while, and it's like, well, you could just keep scrolling. You didn't have to say anything.
Like, oh, now you pointed it out. I thought, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, don't say that out loud.
But that's when you get that pressure again, like, oh, people are watching. They did notice.
Yeah.
But then it's almost like a good thing. I'm like, oh, you noticed. So like, what? Like, oh, you missed my content. Okay, that's good. But then like, dang it, now I gotta really get back on it.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a weird balance. I'm trying to remember that some of my favorite TV shows does one season a year, and they still maintain some super dedicated communities, and I'm like, that's what I need. Um, I'd rather be really effective for one season and then allow hype and patience to build, and then we come back strong. But that's the hard part, right? Like, on each of us, as we are our own bosses, and when it comes to content creation, of figuring out what's the right pacing for me, what works for me, and what goals I have for myself. Now, I want to turn this a little bit for you and ask, what goals do you have for yourself for 2024? I know we're thinking like, Bowsette, we're going to get a little reveal, maybe, no pressure, no pressure.
Right.
But what are some of your goals that you have as we're starting to look towards, the second half of this year?
So with that being said, because like, yeah, as the second half, and I'm realizing Bowsette's still not done. I have 6 months to finish
In
her. So that's
progress.
putting that mental note of, okay, we got 6 months. That's a goal. Finishing Bowsette. Just posting on a more continuous basis with the amount of times I've fallen off because of life, and maybe like my own personal goal of not putting as much pressure, because it goes back to the perfectionist piece, or just like my expectations, because I could say like, we don't have to do this, but I still do what I tell you guys not to do. You practice, you have to practice. So my goal is for, we got to get better at practicing what I preach. Like, we're not gonna take it that hard. We don't have to apologize that hard. I'm still gonna apologize. I still feel like I have to, but like, like this, we'll get back to a better rhythm where it's more relaxed and people are still enjoying the content, and I still got to make what I got to do. Because especially with the algorithm, I have to point out, to go on a tangent, there has been some random videos that I have not put as much work in. Okay. And that's the ones that kick me. I barely put a
Like,
thought into that video.
and they blow up.
200,000 views.
Yep.
Compared to the 6 hours I spent doing makeup for this other one,
You can't win. You can't win.
no, you can't win. So like just realizing my goal of just stick to a posting. We don't know when that win is gonna happen. Like it's just gonna happen. And you just know that because I kept a rhythm that's true to myself, it happened.
Yeah.
So that's my goal for myself with that.
I love that. I love that. And I think that's such a smart and healthier choice because there is a high, right? That comes from seeing a video skyrocket and it's like, oh, I did it. What did I do? That's what I need to do more of. Like it's
That's legit.
and then you go through your bafflement. Like there's like the 5 stages of grief. I don't know, but some psychologist out there needs to do like the 5 stages of going viral, right? Like just what does
Yes.
it do to you emotionally and mentally to continue to trigger because then we chase it. But you've identified a really healthy approach. I have to ask because of course your cat has made a few appearances as well. Is there an opportunity, not maybe this year, but sometime in the future that you will cosplay with your cat?
I have cosplayed with my cat.
I didn't
But, you
see
know.
those. Hold on. Where?
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about it.
So the character is Bastet from Aurora Kingdom.
Okay.
So that character has a black kitty.
Okay.
And if I don't even know how far to search that up. If I were able to find it on Instagram, I would just share the link. But I made my cat it was a neck piece that cat's wearing. It's like almost Egyptian style, and I put it on her. She was not tolerating the pictures well. So honestly, she ruined my whole photo shoot. She did not want to be in cosplay with me.
Okay, that's hard then.
Yeah, she was in it. I've also, I think for Wednesday and someone else, I've had her in the pictures with me because it's a black kitty. I have 2 cats. The black ones I've had for longer, so I put her through more of my cosplay craziness.
That's fair.
But she's right here to the side still. She's kind of I guess just used to it. Like for Halloween, I dress her up. She has her own bat wings. So this year we're gonna both be in bat wings. She doesn't know it yet. It's gonna be a fun Halloween.
Little baby bats just going around. Okay, that is adorable. Yeah. I love that. There's something fun. I'm sorry to hear that your other cat isn't as game and has ruined photo shoots, but there's something nice when you get to share it with others, right? Including your pets, and they're like, yes, we're a part of it. Do you like to do also cosplays with other individuals? I know a lot of your work, especially when you're creating, it's probably easier to do on your own. But have you ever met up with other cosplayers and be like, yes, we all decided to do, right, maybe like the X-Men together, or maybe we all decided to do characters from this movie together. Has that ever been a collaboration?
There has. I'm trying to remember the last time we did it and who was it with. But at the same time, it's usually like if I'm going to the con with friends where that's easier to plan. And my sister and my husband are like obligated to do whatever with me. So it's kind of like
obligated.
They're obligated. They don't usually have a choice. I choose it for them. I have to think if it was One Piece.
Oh.
It might have been One Piece.
That's good. Most people are comfortable and fun with that. It wasn't like you're asking them to, do a whole body of face paint or, body paint.
Yes. No. Yeah. Usually it's like a group thing that everyone enjoys. And it's not that like taxing on everyone. Cause I think especially my friends and family, I think I'm the only one willing to do the body paint. So I've never put that pressure on everybody. Oh, I made my husband an avatar. Yeah, we were glued together.
That never mind. Easy. Okay, first of all, how did you get him? Does he ever say like, I also really want to cosplay, or do you have to ask him first?
He's been interested. I don't realize lately we just haven't had the time to put us both in cosplay, but like he's been interested without me having to really be like, yeah, do it with me, please, please, please. Like it's usually I can get him to do it. So
We love it. We love it. I think that's just it's nice when, especially in your household, that you have someone that is excited and not just supports you, but wants to participate with you. Not that they have to do it all the time, but it is
yeah,
nice to share.
it is nice to share.
Now,
Yes.
of course, I've got to ask some of the classic cosplay questions of what's been your favorite cosplay? What's been the one that you're like, oh no, why did I do that? Uh, Tell us your highs and lows.
Ooh, okay, I'll start with the low
Okay.
because I never posted that one. I absolutely hated the makeup.
It's a
And
secret.
she just didn't come out the same. From Demon Slayer, the spider
Yes.
demon queen.
Yes.
Um,
I don't know her
yeah,
name. You could just make something up
I
and be like,
can
yes.
can't remember her name, but I concluded I don't like doing a whole white body paint look,
Fair.
and the way it cracks, it just didn't come out good.
Mm,
It was an idea. I love the character design. It didn't work out.
fair.
So never posted, never shared, deleted all files. We won't go through that one again.
That was probably a lot of work too, to like put on all of that white
Yes.
makeup and even the outfit.
Yeah, I actually tried that cosplay twice, thinking, oh, let me put it to life, let me change some things. Because that's when it comes into the detail where I was like, okay, I don't have to do the body paint part.
Yeah.
Maybe I can just change the makeup still in a way that popped for me to
Yeah.
bring her to life. I still hated it. So didn't work out. I guess I just wasn't feeling Spider Queen didn't fit me.
Fair.
Um,
Fair. We're allowed to
in
move on.
terms, yes, in terms of favorites, I want to say it's Doc Ock, especially as I continue to figure out how to get those, like the arms to stay up.
Hmm.
I played with that one for a while. I haven't gotten to wear her fully to a con because it would not manage the walking.
Oh,
Like it's a short distance cosplay that requires adjustments still. Where I'm like, okay, I have to be at the point where I don't feel I have to adjust her
hmm,
to walk in a con or hit people. Because with those, it's like these wings I could hit people with, but like these are more controllable compared to I think I'm at this with that right now, and
yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how to navigate. Like I love that character in general, especially in Spider Verse. Like that's the female version. I When I watched Spider Verse for the first time, I lost it. I lost it when she came and said they call me Liv. Like I lost it.
Yeah.
So she is just I'm love the character.
Mm.
I had to bring the cosplay to life. Like I will finish her one day in all glory and just wear her to a con. Like she's my personal project to this day. Like she's not even quite done. I finished her in a few other ways, but to me, she's not done. She's gonna be. I don't want to use the word perfect, but I'm gonna make her perfect.
That's right.
So
True to your
yeah,
vision. Let's go with that.
true to my vision. Exactly.
I love when you're talking about Doc Ock that like your face lights up. You're like, I'm gonna be her. I'm gonna do this. Here's the size. And I love that you're thinking because all I'm thinking is like, oh yeah, you probably need to be able to fit through normal doors at least. You're thinking of people. I'm thinking of doors.
Yes.
But I don't care about the people.
Yes.
Like you listen, for what you're making, take up space. Okay? Take up all the space. It will be magnificent. People will move out of your way. You will be like a god among us mere mortals. So you deserve that. Uh, it, so when you're creating all of this, what is that normally like the reaction that you have these days that helps prompt to go, that's what I want to do when you get like the heartbeat goes up a little bit faster when you see that person, you're like, I could cosplay them. Like even with Demon Slayer, right? For the Spider Queen, was there a moment when you saw her story arc and you go, oh, I need to try that. I need to give that a go.
Honestly, I think that's just how it is for me. It's like when I got these wings, now that I think about it, the reason these wings stuck out was because of Castlevania. The third season of Castlevania, I saw Drolta
Yeah.
and I was like, right there.
Hmm.
All right, we're not done with the season yet, but I'm cosplaying her. That's usually how it is for me. Like, my heart just does a thing. It's a weird nerdy thing that people pointed out. I'm like, it's a thing. I have to do it. It's like an itch. Like, oh, I have to like make that come to life.
Yes. Follow your heart. Let it lead you because so far
Yes.
it has not led you astray. Let's be clear. I mean, all of them look great. So I did pull up your Instagram because I was trying to find your cats. And I'm just reminded again how many cool different cosplays from so many genres. But I have to ask, do you have a favorite genre? If you're like, listen, I'm seeing a lot of comic
Mm.
books, I'm seeing obviously anime, I'm seeing Disney. Uh, you've got the whole gambit provided here. Actually, I don't see gambit, but you get what I meant by that.
No, I understand. Uh, I want to say, in terms of genre, I think the comic book genre gets me most excited in general, especially like these days with like X-Men, which have X-Men 97. We have the Deadpool movie coming out. Like, it's a different, I do have a different excitement for my comic stuff. Like, even with Doc Ock, like, it's just a different, it's years of story and comics with those. And not that I've read all of them or even got to see everything, but I guess the community just talking about it, or the relation. I know it hits different with the comic cosplays.
That's
I
fair.
think I do, or maybe, yeah. It's just a different connection there.
Hmm. Do you like some of the communities better than others? Like obviously you have Star Trek or you've got Marvel or DC or Disney. Are there certain audience that you're like, I, I love this audience, or this one's like, no, they were not my people.
That's more of the I guess how much I'm into it and how much I know. Like, have I watched Star Wars? Yes. Have I seen every movie? No. So I never feel comfortable going into that conversation and talking to anybody, because then I feel like I'm on trial. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna say this wrong because I didn't watch the movie in the order, and I did this and I did this and I Kilala. Anyway, she's doing her thing. Um, there's different genres and fandoms where I'm like, let me not say the wrong thing. Like, I appreciate Final Fantasy, but will I say I've been there from the beginning? No, I'm going to be honest, and I'm not going to talk about it to that extent because I don't want to offend. Um, but then there's like DC. I love DC. All right, I'm a big DC. Like, best villains. I'll give Marvel, they have the heroes, but I like my villains. Best villains, multiple storylines. They're working on the movies, whatever. But the shows, best shows.
Yes, the shows have
I'm gonna be
always been
honest.
delivering every single time. This is true.
Those shows hit. So that community, I am for it. I am in there in the comments telling people you need to go watch this. You need to do it now. I'm part of the toxicity of why haven't you seen this? That's not how it happens. So I think it's a comfort level of what do I watch and what I'm into.
Hmm.
DC is where I'm more into. So
That's fair. It's home. It's home for you.
it's home. There you go.
I love that. I think that's so exciting. And of course, like, obviously, the looks are just killer from start to finish. I assume when you're actually creating these cosplays, like, that you get to have, like, the comic books or TV shows playing for some, ongoing inspiration, right?
That has happened. No, it definitely has. Or I'm generally watching something. I usually have to be watching something. That's why I choose to catch up. I'm like, okay, I can catch up on Bridgerton now, or I can make sure I watched like everything on the Marvel shows when I'm working on cosplay. But like,
Hmm.
even with Doc Ock, I rewatched the movie while I did it because then I was also planning content. So that's when the whole planning content comes back. I'm like, let me get a refresher.
Hmm.
Maybe there's a line I can use. So
That's smart. That is smart. I since you mentioned it, I have to ask: are we getting a Bridgerton cosplay?
So I've been contemplating. I've been I've been eyeing the tool I have in my closet. I'm like, what do we do with that? Or even the Princess Tiana costume I wore this week. I'm like, I don't want to just use Tiana.
Yeah.
I need to I need to I want puffy arms. Like I'm it's in my head. My head is worrying. Like, I'm about to start Queen Charlotte this week. So it's gonna keep yeah, I'm so excited. I'm gonna start Queen Charlotte. I just finished Bridgerton over the weekend.
Hmm.
Um, so I guess something is happening. When it will happen, I don't know, because I'm not gonna put myself on a schedule right now.
No, that's fair.
But
There's no pressure.
yes, yes.
Though I gotta imagine, because I mean, we mentioned, of course, like you style have to wigs, and of course, a lot of your cosplay is like you use wigs to help create and help define the characters. Queen Charlotte is certainly one who is iconic for her wigs.
Yes.
I mean, what even in this last one, there was a spinning carousel of swans
Yes. Yeah. I
inside
was
the
like, wait a
wig.
minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's one of those moments where I'm like, I'm gonna, I bookmarked it in my head. We're gonna do something,
Hmm.
and I have to work on my wig styling game, because then I'm like, I'm gonna look into the behind the scenes of how do you get that stick on her head and how heavy is it? Because can I pull that off at a con? We're gonna see. So no, it's on my radar for sure. Like if I just get the wig down alone,
Yes.
I'll be happy.
I mean, the height is insane. And so I
Yeah.
imagine there's a degree of balance on top of everything just to maintain, because it's not like there's a lot of hiding spots where you could choose to try to strap it around your head or anything.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like is it because she gets to sit in her throne, like she's not moving? Is that what they've gotten to work?
Maybe there's like a whole
So
back piece because we never really see from behind and it goes.
yeah. No, honestly, that's the other way. Like when it comes to the big projects, I have to dissect it. Like
Yes.
how is it practical? Can it be practical?
It's a
So
puzzle. It's a puzzle.
yes.
Hmm. I love it. I cannot wait to see you tackle whatever you take on next, because you
Thank you.
you just bring such joy to what you create, and it's a delight to see what you put together. So, I know we're running out of time, which breaks my heart because I'm enjoying this, and I love talking about the work that you create and hearing your process, because you shine. You shine with what you love, and I love that your cat is making their debut right now. One of them.
Yes. Her whole show right now.
Right here. Give me attention, Queen Love. Uh, Tell us, Queen, where can we follow you on all social medias? What do you have coming up on the docket so we can support you? Because we want to continue to learn more about who you are, what you're doing in this space, and to see more of your creative process.
So I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. I am on Twitch. Haven't been streaming as much, but I am also here on Twitch. I think I covered it. And Twitter X, however you call it. I'm all under Queen Kerosene, all the same name under there. Queen with a K.
Yes, I love it. Thank you. We'll make sure that we follow you. Do you have any cons? I know you just got back from Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale. Let's see if I can speak correctly. My articulation. Are you dreaming of any particular cons coming up for the rest of the year?
So Comic Con actually next week, I'll be going to San Diego for Comic Con. So I'm very excited.
The big
I don't know if
one.
I'm doing all days. Yes, the big one. The big one. I have tickets to attend, so I'm like, I'm just gonna enjoy it. Comic Con's my biggest one. Dragon Con I've never been to, and it's right there in Atlanta.
Hmm.
So we're gonna see about Dragon Con.
Hmm.
And I just bought Holiday Matsuri tickets because that is my favorite con of all time. If you guys love Christmas, a Christmas themed con, that is the con to go to. It's amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Now, Queen Ryan is also yelling Tampa Con. Is that also something on yours? You laughed. What is this?
Tampa Con is on my radar because I know Queen Ryan lives in Tampa. Yes, it is on my radar. Yes.
This is always a good reminder. Invite your friends to cons. At least let them know that there's somebody there waiting for them, whether you end up going to Tampa Con or not.
Yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, friends, if you do end up going to Tampa Con, wish Queen Ryan a happy birthday. Because no big deal, right? Happy B-Day. But Queen Kerosene, I hope you have an absolute blast at Comic Con San Diego, that you get to go to all the cons that you want to this year, that you don't have too bad of a con crunch. Obviously, I can't wish that you won't have none, because you will. Everyone does.
Yeah.
But I hope it's bearable. I hope it's no injuries, no burns, no ruined nails at the end of the day, and it's everything that you want as you go into it. And I cannot wait to see what you create next. As we wrap up, do you have any final words, especially as you've given so much thought on leading with your heart, being true to yourself, and taking care of your mental health? Anything for our wonderful viewers?
I guess just remembering taking care of yourself. Honestly, I guess what, as I said earlier, taking care of yourself, I feel like is the biggest thing these days. We get lost with work. We're trying to make more money to pay bills because, everything costs more. Take care of yourself at the end of it. Because, like, once you don't have your health and stuff, then, like, that it's hard to get back. So I definitely push that. That's my biggest thing this year. My own other personal goal is enjoying the moment and taking time.
I love that. Here, here. Your health come first. Take care of it. It's the most important thing. Would you do us the honor of showing us the wings one more time as a final goodbye?
Oh, yes, I can show the wings.
There you have it, friends. As she flies away, make sure that you give Queen Kerosene a follow on all socials, and we'll see you all next week for another episode of Pink Pixels. Bye, everyone.
Have a great night.